What is up everybody, my name is Tyler Potts and welcome back to another video, and this time we're going to be creating a VueJS light mode, dark mode toggle. As you can see here, we have this little toggle in the center. You can pull it anywhere, you can pull it in the settings page or whatever, but I thought for the purpose of this video we'd pull it in the dead center of this page. And if you see I click the toggle, it turns it to light mode, dark mode, light mode. We have also added in a keybind, so if I press the letter T on my keyboard, it turns it from light mode to dark mode. So if you want to learn all this, don't forget to stick around. The things you need to know before starting this tutorial is VueJS, the Vue CLI, Vue free CLI or Vue CLI free, I'm not sure which way around the number goes, and probably also Node.js, because you're going to need Node.js to install Vue and so on and so forth. So there's a few dependencies. You can check out one of my early videos, probably in the between 10 and 20 videos, which have been a VueJS crash course or VueJS for beginners tutorial. Go check that out and then come back to this video. But if you already know VueJS and how to get it all set up, then we will crack on. So without further ado, let's continue. So if we head over to our terminal and clear, and I'm going to CD out of this currently already made dark mode, and we're going to go over to our new folder. So I'm going to go into my projects. I'm then going to go into my 100 days of code projects folder, and then I'm going to make a directory called day /73 / There's so many backslashes. Gotta get rid of those spaces, dog. Day 73 / and then this is gonna be called dark mode. Vue dark mode probably would have been better the other way, but that's fine. We're gonna create that, and then we're gonna CD into day 73 of our 100 days of code video. I'm gonna make sure Snake in there, and then I'm gonna run Vue create, and we're gonna call this Vue dark mode. Hit enter, and I'm going to let that run. Oh, okay, it's going to ask us which preset would like. I'm just going to go for the default one for now, guys, and I'll see you once this is done. Okay, everyone, now that's done, we can now CD into our project. So change directory, oh, what? Okay, add press enter there, very weird. Let's CD into our Vue dark mode. I'm going to open this up in my favorite text editor, which is VS Code, and I'm going to drag this up here and drop it right there. Then I'm going to run npm run surf to start the development surfer. It's going to start up, and then we'll be able to see it in the browser. But before we do that, let's go clear up some code. So I want to delete this hello world component. I want to go into our Vue, and I want to remove the hello world component from the components object. I also want to remove it from here. I want to remove the logo. I want to remove the styling. And I also want to I want to remove the whole assets folder because it's not necessary for this video. And once we're down to this basic app.vue thing, we're ready to start. So if we go over to the left, you'll see it's now running. So if we go over here and we hit refresh, you'll see there is nothing on the screen. Okay, that's fine. So what we want to do is we want to set up some data attributes in our script area. So down here we want to say, is it data? Yes, it's data. Component? No, yeah, data. So we want to get data, and we want to basically pass through this data. We want to return an object, and in the object we want to say mode, and this mode is going to be equal to dark because we're going to start off our web app in dark mode. We then want to go down to our, we want to go up to our template here. I'm going to remove this ID because it's not necessary. I'm going to add a class of app, but then I'm also going to bind some other classes which is going to be based off the mode. I'm going to check if the mode is equal to dark mode, then the class we will append to the app is dark, else light. And you could probably already tell where we're going to go with this dark mode toggle. So we're going to have the toggle in the center. When we click it, it's going to change the property of mode from dark to light, and then we're going to change the app based on these classes which are added to our Vue main app component. And that is basically how it's going to go. So without further ado, let's continue on. So first things first, we want to add some resets in the styling. So in the style, I'm going to say margin 0. Padding 0. We're going to give it a box sizing of border box, and we're also going to set the font family to Roboto and sans serif, because I have Roboto installed on my machine. Normally you'd have to use a Google font to pull it from the web, but for now it's going to be fine for just testing purposes. I'm then going to get the app class, and I'm going to add some basic stuff. I'm going to say width 100%, min height, actually no, width 100, viewport width, height is going to be 100 VH, and this is going to be a min height because we don't want the whole app to be restricted to 100 vertical height, but I just want it to cover the whole page so we don't see any like background white or anything, because we're not going to manipulate the background at all. I'm then going to set the default background color equal to a really light grey. I'm then going to set the color of the actual font on the page equal to 15, 20 and 2B. So these are going to be our light, anything without the prefix of .dark will basically be our light mode app. So if we wanted to, we could remove this light class up here and it would work fine. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave the light class out. I then want to add the class of dark. So when it goes dark, we want the background color to be equal to, or just the background, we want the background to be equal to 192734. And it's like another slightly different shade of blue to the app's font color. We want to set the color for the page equal to F3 and hit save. So if we head over to our page, you can see it's kind of in dark mode now. Let's add some text here. So we're going to just quickly give a H1 and say hello world. Hit save and we go over there and you'll see it says hello world in white text. If we now remove this mode and we go back, you'll see it's now in light mode. So it kind of works. Just to keep it clean, we're going to write light in here every time we go to light mode, although we're not really going to use it. There you go. And also, I've just thought the class mode doesn't actually need a check. It can just be this mode, because this mode is going to basically represent dark or light. There you go. So we've got a dark mode component now. The next component we're going to create is the header, which is going to hold our toggle, or it's going to hold our toggle component, which we're going to create separately. So let's remove this tag here and let's create a header component. In components, let's create a new file and we'll call it header.vue. I'm going to zoom in a little here so you guys can see what's going on a bit better. Now in the header, we're going to have a template built with HTML. We're going to say header, which is a default HTML5 markup tag. We're then going to say H1, and in here we're going to pass through the prop of mode, which we're going to pass through from props when we get around to adding it into our actual app.vue file. We're then going to have a toggle here, so we're going to put a comment saying toggle because that's where our toggle is going to go, and then we're going to have a navbar just for aesthetics look, and then we're going to have a nav link times 4 because we're going to have 4 nav links, and in here we're going to say home, about, portfolio and contact. Very nice. So these classes are just going to basically define our navbar structure. We're then going to have a script with JavaScript, which is going to basically have some props, which is going to be equal to mode. So if you remember, we passed through mode up here. Well, we didn't pass it through, we've used mode up here, so we need to pass it through somehow. And we're going to pass it through props. So let's hit save. Let's go to our app, and where we have, let's import our header now. So in Vue, you import your components just like you do in React. So we're going to import header from, and then we're going to use @ which is a, I think it's a Babel way of basically saying anything here is related to the source. So this is going to say source / components / header. You don't need to put an extension on the end because Vue does not need that. And then in components, we want to pass through the header. Now here we're going to say header, but we're going to pass through mode. So we're going to use the model and we're going to pass through mode. So these here just stand for phi-on, which is basically setting it up to be a model. Oh no, not phi-on, sorry, it stands for phi model. Fee model? No, fee bind, which is binding, two-way binding basically for Vue. So over here, if we go back, as you'll see, it says dark mode, which it is there. So if we change the mode to now, say light, and we come back, you'll see it says light mode. We need to do a bit of styling, but otherwise I think it looks pretty good. So in our script, let's say style with CSS, and we're going to have a header component, or header class, sorry, or attribute. I'm forgetting what I'm saying. Just ignore me if I talk random stuff. I'm very hyper. Let's say display flex, and we're going to justify the content from space between. I'm not going to explain the CSS because this isn't a CSS tutorial, but I'm going to try and explain every part of the toggle I can. So when we get around to the toggle stuff, I'll explain more then. So we're going to have some padding of 0 pixel, 25 pixel, and we're also going to have a height of 60 pixel, background of, oh hello, where we go, background of C3, 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 and a transition of background 0.3 seconds ease in out. And the reason we're going to have this is because we want the background not to just snap to, actually we're going to leave it out for now, but I'm going to re-add it in when we actually add the toggle, because I want to show you what it looks like when we toggle. Let's also go back to our head and change this to light mode, because as you can see there, that is what the light mode header is going to look like, or kind of look like. We need to style up a little bit more than just what we've done. So underneath header, we want to say header H1. We're going to give this a font size of font size of 32 pixels, and that is basically just quite a good size, I think. We're going to have a text transform of uppercase and a font weight of 900. Let's say header nav, and we're going to display this bar as flex because we want it to basically have the alignment of stretch, and we want to also display it in a row. And we're going to say height of 60 pixels too to match the header. Hit save, and if we go back, you'll see it's kind of starting to come into shape now. Let's go back and just say header nav.nav -link, and we're going to say the display is equal to flex align item center, and the padding for each button is going to be 0 pixels, 15 pixels. If we hit save and we go back, you'll see it's now centered. Let's add a hover effect to this, because we're going to mess around with hover effects and what they'll look like in both dark and light mode. So we're going to say -nav hover, and now we're going to say background is equal to B0, B0, B0. Let's refresh, and as you can see, when we hover them, it changes. Alright, so that's cool, but now let's have a look how we're going to style it up in dark mode. Because if we go over to dark mode now and we refresh, you'll see it kind of doesn't look right at all. And that's because we need to add a couple of dark mode styling attributes tags. And obviously the first one is going to be for the actual header background. So let's add dark here. So we're going to prefix it with dark because our wrapper has the class of dark. And then we're going to say header, and we're going to say background is equal to, and it's going to be 15202B, which is a slightly darker than the background's the actual background's color. I think that looks pretty nice. Let's go back over to the header, and let's now scroll down to our underneath our nav link, because it's the only other thing which doesn't make sense. We're going to say dark header nav.navlink hover, and we're going to set the background equal to a 101520. Hit save, go back. Now if we hover, you'll see there is this very light or very dark, I don't know, background color to it, which is very nice. It's very subtle, but I like it. Okay, and that is all we need. So if we go back to app now, and we basically change the mode to light, and we hit save, as you can see, it is now light mode. So we're going to continue doing some more light mode stuff. Now we're actually going to create the toggle in the center. So let's go over to our components, create a new component. We're going to say toggle.vue because we want to get this up and running. We don't want to be doing this all day. Let's create a template. Let's give it a class of toggle wrapper for our actual div. Let's now create a label with the class of toggle. It doesn't need a for, and this could just be open. Now inside of the toggle label, we want to say input, and we want to say type is checkbox, and we don't need a name or an ID, but we will need a checked variable. Now in this checked variable, we're going to check if the mode is equal to dark, and if it is equal to dark, we're going to set the checked variable equal to checked, or the checked attribute, and if it's not, we're just going to set equal to false so it doesn't display as checked. I then want to go underneath this, and I want to create a span with the class of toggler and round, because I'm going to make two separate classes here. I'm going to hit save, and that is all the markup we need. We're going to add in an event to this input, a non-change event, but for now we'll leave that out for just a moment. Let's go down to our script, because we do pass through this mode, so we want to pass through our props, and we're going to pass through the mode prop, which we will pass down from header view to our toggle view. And that's all the script we need. We then want to add some style. Now in the style, this toggle takes a few different things. We're going to say the position relative for the actual toggle. We're going to say display inline block, and we're going to give it a width of 60 pixels. We'll give it a height of about 34 pixels, which these are basically the dimensions of the toggle, which will be there. Let's just add a quick background to this of, let's say, red. So we should be able to see it, which we can't because it's, we hadn't included it in our head. Don't worry, we'll get there in a second. Actually, let's do it now. Let's go back, add it now. So let's go to our header and let's import our toggle. So we're going to say toggle, and it's going to have the mode equal to the mode prop we passed through, and down here we're going to say import toggle from @components /toggle, and then in here we're going to say components equal to toggle. Hit save, go back, and as you can see, here is our little toggle area, and we click anywhere in it to activate it. So that's where our toggle is going to actually be. So let's go back to our toggle class or component, and let's remove that background color. I don't want to say the toggle input, and we want to hide it. So what we're going to say is opacity 0, width 0, and height 0. We don't want to say toggler, so we want to get the span we've created underneath, and we want to set the position actually equal to absolute. The cursor will be a pointer because we want it to look like we're actually clicking a second. And then we're going to say top 0, left 0, right 0, and bottom 0. We'll set the background equal to the 15252B, and then we're going to say WebKit -transition, and we'll set this equal to 0.4 seconds. So I'm going to put 0.4 so a bit more readable. And then we also want to do the same thing but without the prefix of WebKit. So what this basically does is basically fills up the whole square with this dark background toggler. Now we want to get the actual toggler little circle inside of there. So we're going to say toggler, or we're actually going to have it as a square first. So we're going to say toggler before, and I'm going to say, so we're going to get the before element. We're going to set the position equal to absolute. we're going to say the content is equal to nothing. Oh, I keep using commas because I'm used to doing objects. We'll set the height equal to 26 pixels, the width equal to 26 pixels, left of 4 pixels, bottom of 4 pixels, and then we're going to say the background is equal to a white, and we're also going to grab these transitions and add them back to this little thing. So if we go back, we have this square, which is pretty cool. But now we're checking this right now, but it's not actually doing anything. So we need to update this based on if we're checking the input. So now we'll go input checked plus dot toggler. So what that says is get the input next to this toggler, or get the toggler next to the checked input, and we're going to say background is equal to a 2196 F3. I'm then going to say input focus plus toggler is going to have a box shadow of about 0.02 pixels with the same background. And if we put save and we click this, you'll see it goes blue when we check it, and then back, and then blue, and then back. But now we want to not just check it, we want this to slide across. So let's go down there and say input checked plus toggler hyphen or colon before. So we now want to get the actual little square inside of this, and we're just going to say WebKit transform, and we're going to say translate x is equal to 26 pixels. Oh, we want to say ms, so we want to cover Microsoft, and we also just want to say transform is equal to translate x 26 pixels. So let's have a look at what that looks like now. As you can see, it slides over and slides back and slides over and slides back. But this is cool if you want a square toggle. You can have this. I just want to show off this square toggle that it can be done. But I'm also going to now do the round toggle. So inside of our class, we're just going to say dot toggler dot round, and we're going to say border radius is equal to 34 pixels. That should be enough. And then we'll say toggle or toggler dot round before, and we're going to set the border radius equal to 50% because we want it to be a ball. So if we go back, and as you can see, it's now a ball toggler. And you could do more for this. You could probably change it into some cool looking things like an actual, like I've seen some really cool ones on CodePen where it's like an actual switch, light switch. You could use an icon here with a little light icon or whatever, but I just like using this toggle. It's nice and cool. But now, for the part you've been waiting for, we're going to add the functionality to switch back and forth to the toggler. And this is very easy inside of VueJS. So the first things we want to do is we want to add, I'm going to break these down onto their own line so it's easier to read. But we want to add an onChange, so a change event handler. And we're going to say $emit, and we're going to say toggle, and that's all we're going to pass through. So what this says is on the component, the wrapper component, the component above this, we want to pass through emit. So in our header, we have this toggle, which we're going to pass through emit, and we just want to say at toggle is equal to $emit toggle. And the reason we're doing that is basically we're passing it this function or this call, this event call from this component to header component. Then we're taking it from header component and emitting it to our app component in header. So now we're going to say at toggle is equal to toggle. So let's go down here, and we're going to create a method here, or methods, and we're going to basically say toggle is going to have the ability to, basically we're just going to say if this dot mode is equal to dark, then we want to say this dot mode is equal to light, we then want to say else this.mode is equal to dark. Hit save and go back. So now if I click toggle, as you can see, it's toggle dark mode and light mode, but it's kind of snappy. It happens too quickly. And that's where the classes came in. So down here, just before in the app, I want to add in a transition background, and we're going to say 0.3 seconds ease in out. Hit save. If we come back and we hit tag, you can see the background has a fade to it now. But we also want the header to have the same. So back in header, we would just want to uncomment the comment we had before. Go back, hit refresh, and there you go. But it's now got a slightly more easier on the eyes transition, so it doesn't hurt your eyes too much. Now I'm going to do some extra steps here. So I'm going to create the rest of the page really quickly, and then we're going to go on to adding the key up event. So if I press like any letter, it's going to add an event to the page that basically toggles this on and off using any key on your keyboard. So we want to go back into our area. I don't think we need a header. No, we don't need a header, but we do need another component. So we don't need a toggle no more either. The next component we're going to have is a content.view. Now inside the content, we're going to say template, and we're going to say diff.content, which is going to be our content. We're going to have a h3 which says this is, and then we're going to pass through the mode again, and we're going to say mode. This is, and then whatever mode it is currently in. We're then going to have an image grid, which I'm just going to use CSS grids to style. We're going to have 3 columns, and in each column we're going to have a image, which didn't come out quite right there. We're going to have an image with a thing on. I have some links here to some nice images, so I'm just going to paste those in. I'm not going to use an alt for now, but you probably should if you're building a production level app for your metadata. And let's create another image. And in there I have another one. Let me just copy it from my notes. Bam. And one more image. And let me just get that. And there we go. Paste that in there. Remove the alt tag. Let's go. Oh, it's not going to appear. So if we go back into app, we want to import it. So let's duplicate this. Say content. Pass content there. And then we just want to say content with passing the mode of mode. Hit save and come over here. Let's go in here and say script. We want to say props is equal to mode. Hit save, come back, refresh the page. Where are my classes? Just checking everything's spelled right. Oh, I didn't pass it through here in components. So let's pass it down there. And actually we've got our 3 images, and I think they're really nice. I love this image up here with the castle with the lights on it. So if we toggle, you'll see it says dark mode in both these places, and then light mode, dark mode, light mode. So let's style this up. So let's add some, oh, we're in the wrong one. In the content, let's style this up. So we're going to say style, and all we're going to say is basically dot content for stars, and we're going to add some padding. We'll just set a padding of 25 pixels. That's all we need. We're going to say content is equal to, or content h3 is equal to font size, and we're going to say 28 pixels. Text transform uppercase because we want it to be capitals. We'll say font weight 300 because we want it to be a nice light font to contrast with the title font. And then we're going to say margin bottom of 25 pixels. Hit save, come back over, and you'll see the header is now styled pretty nicely. If we go to dark mode, it updates. So now let's quickly go down to image grid, and let's say display grid template columns. It's going to have a repeater in there. It's only going to be 3 columns of 1 fraction, and then we're going to have a grid gap of 25 pixels. No, we'll say 15 pixels, and then we'll say image grid dot col image is equal to a width of 100%. If we go back, as you can see, they are now in line, and it looks pretty freaking awesome. And if we go to dark mode, you can see it all translates to dark and light. Obviously the image don't change, but you could potentially add a slightly dark filter to these, which would reduce the brightness of these in dark mode, so it doesn't hurt the user's eyes too much. Although to be fair, I probably should reduce how white the text is as well to fix that, which we could do if we go over to app quickly, and instead of doing F3, 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 dark mode, sorry, we could say something along the lines of E8, E8, E8 and hit save. And if I refresh light mode and go to dark mode, that shouldn't be as bright, although it still looks quite bright. Right, now what I missed saying, we need some text because else it's quite boring. So we're just going to add a paragraph in here. And in there we're just going to say lol on 50 to have a bit of text. And we're going to go down to the bottom, just say .para. It's going to have a width of 100%, a max width of 600 pixels, and a margin of 25 pixels, auto 0 pixels. Hit save, go back, and as you can see, it's now centered. So if we just toggle, you could see it toggles. Now, what we want to do to add in that the toggle, so when I press T or any other layer, it basically toggles. So in our components, or just above methods, I'm going to create a created function, which is going to basically say window.addEventListener key up, and we're going to say this.keyPress, and this is what's going to handle the key press. Ooh. So just above toggle, we'll say key press. It's going to pass through an event, and what we want to do is basically say if e.key is equal to t this.toggle, and that is all you need. So what we've done there is check the key we've pressed is equal to t, and then we're just going to call this toggle function. So if we come over here and we click on the page, I press T, as you can see it has transformed, and I didn't click the button. So if I keep my mouse down the bottom here and press T, as you can see it's changed, and it's not changed, and it's changed, and it's not changed. And that is all it is. Obviously, the most difficult part is creating two different CSS scripts, where one is to do with the dark mode and one's to do with the light mode, and then you can get loads of conflicts where the light mode is showing on the dark mode and the dark mode showing on the light mode. So you have to make sure your scripts are clean. I suggest using Sass and probably some Sass variables to really help fix this issue. But anyway, without talking anymore and really boring you guys, I'm going to finish this video here. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, then leave a thumbs up. It really does help. If you want to see more, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be the first on the scene, the first one to watch the video, get comments and talk to me, because I'll be, as soon as the video goes live, I'm ready to reply to comments. Then hit that the bell in the next to the subscribe button, and you'll be notified as soon as I go or upload a video. Other than that, if you haven't already, you can join our Discord server. The link will be in the description. You can check me out on Twitter. It's Tyler_Potts_. The link is also in the description, and that's where I will update you with what I'll be posting, uploading, what's going on throughout my day and stuff like that, just so you guys can keep on top of when my videos will be uploaded, if they're going to be late or not. And finally, I need to thank my Patreons for being absolutely amazing. Every single one of you have been really cool, and the support you guys are giving me is going to help me upgrade my system and everything like that to get a better setup, to record better videos and less unprofessional videos for you guys. I want to be able to teach you with the best possible equipment there is. Other than that, guys, so again, just another thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace out.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best.